Hello, everybody. Let me get myself better situated. It is 3 a.m. It is 3:11 to be exact. We're gonna put the phone here, and I'm going to read from. Can you guys hear me? Okay. If you're going to be joining in this 3 a.m. session, it's 3 a.m. here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and before I get started reading from the Outlaw Bible, the poetry, beautiful Bible. It should be to religion, in my opinion, because all religions are fake. Oh, did I say it? Yeah, I did. For enslavement. Go figure. Anyways, let's go outside. Ooh, do I have my coat? It is a bit chilly outside. Very, 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 very chilly. So I'm gonna go. I do not have my jacket. You must have thought, hey, I'm not gonna need it because I'm just gonna go straight to the trailer, and lo and behold, here I am going outside. I want to go outside because I want to see the moon. It's one of my favorite activities. Yeah, it's moving pretty good. Aha, look at that. Beautiful moon. Nah, I'm totally convinced that the moon has its own light. It's not reflecting sunlight. It's emitting its own light. I'm 100% certain of it. Well, 98% certain of it. But the moon itself started, let me zoom out. I've been tracking it. So it started, had a moonrise right here. I call it a moonrise. And I tracked it. It's going this way. Last night, or last morning, it settled right about over there. And the sun settled last night, settled right about here. And it was about noon, it was about over there. So kind of interesting. If I were to track the sun and the moon and made a composite together, you would see that the moon would be there and the sun would be there at the exact same time. Well, not same time, but if I did an overlay composite, they would be almost like a yin yang. You know, I could almost demonstrate a yin yang effect with the sun and moon. So that would be a fun experiment to do. But yeah, somebody did an experiment where they, I'm not sure how they did it, but it's interesting to do, and I want to do it myself. Apparently, you can measure, I guess, the light emitted from the moon, and you can, I don't know, you can measure different lights. And so, I don't know, there's, I saw this guy on YouTube, he was measuring, how, you know, who knows how true it is, but it did make me question things. But you can measure the luminosity, I guess, of the light coming down, and then you can compare it with, like, I don't know, I gotta look into that because it was very bizarre. But it did get me questioning things about the moon and the sun and like what they are exactly. But I'm going to read from this book now that I'm back inside. It's called the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. Yes, nice and warm in here. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to read from that. I usually just put my phone right here, and then I stand on this thing, and I just Here it is. Here's the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. Welcome, Dead Poet Society. It is 3 a.m. here in Tulsa time. This one's called Skinhead. It was written by Patricia Smith. It's actually it inspired a character I wrote in a movie, Stray Kids. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can watch the trailer. Anyways, Skinhead. They call me Skinhead, and I got my own beauty. It's a knife scrawled across my back in sore, jagged letters. Not sure why it keeps getting disconnected. That's really annoying. That's a first. Let's go back. There are duties of this, the ways of the anointed. The face that moves in my mirror is huge and pockmarked, scraped, pink and brilliant, apple-cheeked. I am filled with my own spit. 2 years ago, a machine that slices leather sucked in my hand and held it, whacking off 3 fingers at the root. I didn't feel nothing when I looked down and saw one of them on the floor, next to my boot heel. And I ain't worked since then. Sit here and watch people take over my TV set, walking like kings up and down the sidewalks in my head, walking like their fat mamas named them freedom. My elders tell me that I ain't right, so I move out into the sun where my beauty makes them lower their heads, or into the night. With a lead pipe up my sleeve, a razor tucked in my boot, I was born to make things right. It's easy now to move my big body into shadows, to move from a place where there was nothing, into the stark circle of streetlight. The pipe raised up high over my head. It's a kick to watch their eyes get big, round and gleaming like cartoon jungle boys. Right in that second, when they know the pipes come down and I got this thing, I like to say, listen to this. I like to say, hey, Abe Lincoln's been dead a long time. I get listening to their burst. I was born to make things right. Newspaper guy comes around. Seems I was a little sloppy, kicking some ass. He opened his hole and screamed about it. This reported me curled up in my bed. Those TV flashes licking my face clean. Same old shit. Ain't got no job. The people got 'em all. Why am I working? Look at my hand. No, I ain't part of no organized group. I'm just a white boy who loves his face, fighting for a pure color. Sometimes it's just me, sometimes 3, sometimes 30. It will take care of all of them, and then it's gone. In the streets, there'll be 3 million. I'll tell him that. So he writes it up, and I come off looking like some kind of freak. Hitler himself. I ain't that lucky, but I got my own beauty. It's in my steel-toed boots. It's in the hard corners of my shaved head. I look in the mirror and hold up my mangled hand. Only the baby finger left, sticking straight up. I know it's the wrong goddamn finger, but fuck you anyway. I'm riding the top rung of the perfect race. My face scraped pink and brilliant. My baby, America, your boy, drunk on my spit. I'm so beautiful, and I was born and raised right here. That was kind of boring. It was just not my favorite poem. I gotta tell you that much. This one's called Medusa. Medusa. This could be more interesting. Poseidon was easier than most. He calls himself a god. But he fell beneath my fingers with more shaking than any mortal. He wept when my robe fell from my shoulders. I made him bend his back to me, listen to his screams break like waves. We defiled the temple the way it should be defiled, screaming and bucking our way from corner to corner. The bitch goddess probably got a real kick out of that. I'm sure I'll be hearing from her. She'll give me nightmares for a week or so that I can handle. Or she'll turn the water in my well into blood. Oh. Yo, what up, SOB? SOB in the house? I'll scream when I see it, and that will be that. I'm reading from, if you're tuning in, it's called the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry from some pretty interesting people. Maybe my first child will be born with the head of a fish. I'm not even sure it was worth it. Poseidon pounding away at me, a madman, losing his immortal mind because of the way my copper skin swells in moonlight. Now my arms smoke and itch. Hard scales cover my wrists like armor. Come on, Athena. He was only another lay, and not a particularly good one at that. Even though he spit steam from his fingers, won't touch him again, promise. And we didn't mean to drop to our knees in your temple, but our bodies so hot and misaligned. It's not every day a gal gets to sample a god. You know that? Why are you being so tough on me? I feel my eyes twisting, the lids crusting over and boiling, the pupils glowing red with heat. Athena, woman to woman. Could you have resisted him? Would you have been able to wait for the proper place, the right moment to jump those immortal bones? My feet are tangled with hair, my ears are gone, my back is curving, and my lips have drum. My garden boy just shattered at my feet. Damn it, Athena, take away my father's gold. Send me away to live with lepers. Give me a pimple, but my face, to have men never again be able to gaze at my face. Growing stupid in anticipation of that first touch. How can any woman like that? How will I able to watch their warm bodies turn to rock when their only sin was desiring me? All they want is to see me wet. They only want to touch my face and turn their fingers through my hair. Is it moving? That one's called Medusa by Patricia Smith. Yo, what up? Thanks, man. Idea Combe, where are you from? What is that? Idea Combe, where are you from? Let me know where you're from. This one's called, if you're tuning in, I'm reading from the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. Pretty interesting stuff. This one's called Depth of Blood by Lisa Martinovic. Here we go. My name is Neela. Neela Nurse. Listen up now, 'cause I'm here to tell you about how I never owed nobody nothing. That's right, I've been worked like a mule all my life, busting my ass and paying dues to where I'm bled dire than a salt box. I raised 8 brothers and sisters with no mama, and I ain't no count daddy. Hell, he was worse than no daddy at all. I've been working 20 years at the chicken plant, my fingers all hubbled up. My lungs so full of dust from ground up chicken bones. Every time I cough, feathers fly out of my mouth. And I still ain't stopped working for Vegan and the kids and his another no-count drunk, useless tits on a boar hog. No, sir, I don't owe nobody nothing. Looks to me like somebody owes me. Somebody owes me a goddamn life. Sometimes I think about how much I put out for everybody. How I never get a lick of respect, a raise, or even a goddamn thank you, ma'am. I think about it while I'm getting chuckins on the what? EV's what? Let's go back. I think about it a while. I'm gutting chickens on the what? Eviscerating. Took me a second. Chickens on the eviscerating line. I think about it every time some little old sugar tit gets light duty because the boss likes the way she wiggles her ass. And whenever Vion comes at me in the middle of night and shoves his belching beer stinking body into me, I don't anymore dream of a young, handsome, God-fearing farmer All I can think about is sleep or murder. Then there's another times like when I'm up to my elbows in the trailer's busted toilet, the whole mess till hell won't have it. I wonder if the ocean is really as pretty as it looks in the magazines. If the flower on a cactus smells sweet, I wonder if it'll ever get just one goddamn day of happiness before I die. Well, I worked all my days, suffered through them long nights, and prayed on my knees every morning, and when that day never did come, I lost the faith. Now I am bitter like an old root. Hell, I could crack a walnut shell between my teeth without even flinching. I've took to slapping my kids, cussing the boss, his back turned, and putting pepper in Vion's coffee. But nothing's changed, except we all got meaner. My mind's like on fire with hate. Bob, my man, hell, even my kids, leeches, all of them, sucking the life out of me. Well, Neela, I says to nobody in particular, since he pays me no mind anyway. Well, I says, there ain't a hell of a lot left to suck. My marrow's tapped out, bones hollow. 'Fore long there won't be blood a-cooling through my veins. But I tell you what, for all my hatred, I don't blame no earthly creature for my misery, so much as I, God, responsible for giving me such a shitty life. And when I think about that, I know it's God what owes me. God owes me that debt of blood. Neela don't owe nobody nothing. Dang, she mad. She Outlaw. Reading from the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. Some pretty interesting, twisted stuff. Alright. Some truth. Truth from the people. The Outlaw. This one's called The Outlaw. Thunderstorm turned my tent into a swimming hole. Drove me to a fluorescent motel room in some beat-up Ozark village named after somebody that nobody remembers. Hot spring Saturday night noise led me to the open-air dance hall on the banks of Elk Creek where I awkwardly available. That's funny. For pert near an hour still, a long-haired, skinny local country flag emblazoned on his belt buckle wobbled over for a dance. Figuring Californians can't be too picky. I obliged. We wriggled and stomped through a few tunes. Dwayne was impressed. He felt so real with me. He just knew I was an outlaw. Like him. What do you mean outlaw? Real slow, like he said. Well, I've with the best of them, and I've ridden with the worst of them. Till I sold my heart because of a chick. What do you do now? I hang chickens. No bizarre sacrificial cult. This is just a poultry processing plant where one step on the line is shackling live chickens onto a wire to be disassembled. 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, $6 an hour. Yep, best in the area. Hey, little outlaw, he grinned, in a tone I reserve for cooing my puppy. Let's dance. We rocked out to AC/DC. Knocking me out with those American thighs. Yeah. The Budweiser was doing strange things to Dwayne's work, so we sat this one out. He sidled over closer to me. You know, the way you look and the way you dance, I can tell. Yes, Dwayne, I can tell you've sat on one before. My eyes bugged out like I was just stepped alongside a 10-foot rattler, too drunk. Dwayne blathered on. Yup, he said. I'm sure you sat on a Harley before. Outlaw like me know these things. Ridiculous. Hey, I'm interested in your reading. Hey, what's the name? Oh, it's called The Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. The Outlaw Bible of American Poetry, edited by Alan Kaufman. It's a collection of poetry. I can tell you sat on before. So funny. The way you move, the way you dance, I can tell you sat on one before. A Harley, that is. Silly. All right, let's do another one. This one's called "Welcome to McDonald's." May I take your please? Your Instagram are I don't really use Instagram necessarily. Yeah, this was called "Welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order, please?" So I bust into McDonald's, and this sister ringing fries is squabbling with his brother mopping the filthy floor. Now the sister, who's kind of cute, is in the process of being steam ruined by some buppy who's dropping lines he must have lifted from some 1970s black exploitation flick. So the sister's pissed, the brother's stressed, and the buppy's new Nikes getting wet. All this time, I'm standing in line, trying to order a filet with no tartar. Seems the sister's sick ringing fries, cause she hikes her hands, rolls her eyes, and says, "Punk motherfucker coward bitch. Your hair's too straight, and you walk with a switch." The buppies, French wave stood at attention. The boys, frick and frack, crackled the fuck up. Then the manager, who happened to be male member of the Caucasian persuasion, tried Newt Gingrich impersonation and set the sister straight. So she gets void, snatches the cheese-stained apron from around her dance hall hips, pokes out her lip, then proceeds to rip into us, who makes like Forrest Gump, then runs to the back and hides behind the freezer. Meanwhile, the brother with the mop is digging into his thick gray sock, trying to find a vial of rocks. Seems like he got slick little hustle going down, and like a circle is round, we wind up back at the NC. I was just trying to order a fish fillet with no tartar. I started getting impatient, cause you know how shot go at Mickey D's when you getting off. Girl, how much you earn? I heard she's fucking the boss, and I should be more patient, but I have to catch a bus, and maybe I need to get in touch with my more sensitive side. But I thought, fuck this shit, walked outside and split. That was called "Welcome to McDonald's." May I take your order, please? Here's one called "The System." The system. There are old men and women who have worked all their lives, who have put in 3-4 decades for the right to a pension. There are old people who have worked 20 years or more, only to be laid off and given 2 weeks severance pay. There are old people who have worked their entire lives only to see the company go belly up and there is no pension fund left. You can find them on park benches, or wandering sterile supermarkets, or sitting at neighborhood bars, nursing their drinks. Like a blood transfusion, they come in assorted flavors, like life savers. Some thin, balding, some fat and sweating, some complaining bitterly, some too proud to let the pain go. So proud that they eat dog food and find dessert like alley garbage cans. Try a belief in a system that has abandoned them. For the most part, they suffer in silence, duly unnoticed, to be carted off in meat wagons, waiting to be cut open by coroners, who see them as morning cereal, who go about their business like a butcher, thinking of dinner, of how it used to be, how it might have been, how it should have been, how it could have been. It's the way of life, it's the way of politics, it's the way of rats and mice. It's the system where just trying to stay alive becomes a small victory. It's pretty good. This one's called poetry. Alright, later. If you're joining in, I'm reading from the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. It is 3:38 a.m. I'm probably going to go back to sleep after this. Here we go. This one's called Poetry. I've got to be honest. I can make good word music and rhyme. At the right times and fit words together to give people pleasure. And even sometimes take their breath away. But it always somehow turns out kind of phony. Consonants and consonants and inner rhyme won't make up for the fact that I can't figure out how to get down on paper the real or the true which we call life, like the other day. The other day I was walking on the lower exercise yard here at San Quentin. This cat called Turk came up to a friend of mine and said, "Ernie, I hear you're shooting my kid." And Ernie told him, "So what, punk?" And Turk pulled out his and shanked Ernie in the gut. Only Ernie had a metal tray in his shirt. Turk's shank bounced right off of him, and Ernie pulled his stuff out, and of course Turk didn't have a tray, and caught it dead in the chest. A bad one, and the blood that came to his lips was bright pink lung blood. And he just lay down in the grass and said, "Shit, fuck it, shit, fuck it." And he laughed a soft, long laugh, 5 minutes, then died. Now, what could consonants or assonance or rhyme do with something like that? Wow, pretty intense. Joe Masili. The Subterraneans. Kurak. Yeah? Should I look that one up? This one's called Certain Prostitute for John Weiner. She washed 3 volumes down with a shot. Felt need to swallow my seed and then to break my heart. I lie in bed on the 7th day, sink a soft needle into the upturned belly of my forearm, taste cease on my tongue. I am in love with a certain prostitute who melts my love in a spoon, who leaves me empty and I sparse as the light of a silver moon. A single mattress on a paint-splattered floor, cigarette butts, and the bitten-off corners of condom packages. I followed a constellation up the crack of her ass. That's the poem. That one's called Certain Prostitute for John Wieners by David Roscoe. This was called Poem for Polly. If you're joining me, reading the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. Poem for Polly. The snow is so peaceful when it's falling, covers up the garbage. Looked out the window of the church after the meeting last night and thought of Paul B. Beretta. He's dead due to shot he took in his arm on a rooftop in New York. He said he knew the needle was infected, realized a second before he sunk it in. He just had a gut feeling, paused, and said fuck it. He died in a VA hospital in full-blown dementia, lesions on his skin, pock-marked face, snow settles on his grave. It's pretty intense. This one's interesting. This has a little passage before the poem, but I want to read it. It says, well, I don't know if this is a passage or like what. It's just unexplainable. This is just different random writings in different formats that I don't understand, right? But let's just go ahead and read it. This is by Ira Cohen. It's called Electronic Multimedia Shamanism. Interesting. Angus MacLeese once said, "Shamans are not like other people. In fact, shamans are in some sense outside the law and are, by their vocation, regular travelers to unseen worlds. Among the poets, there are those whose work and lives touch deeply the shamanic prerogative. I would call these intrepid voyagers outlaws of the spirit. They may also be numbered among the radical abusers of Akashic messengers. So we opened the door of electronic media shamanism. I saw it as a diamond in the 60s. Lone wolves of the future impossible, we dared to lean into the unknown to cast a spell over the crumbling cities, from poetry to prophecy, from light, clairvoyancy. You know who you are." Interesting. Alright, maybe this could be the last one because I'm getting kind of tired. I might just back to sleep. Ugh. Ugh. This was called From Songs of the Revolution. Metallic blisters, that's what they've got on the mind. Tanks are contagious, building protective walls and everything. No more semi-permeable membranes, just fortresses looking down, telling it isn't enough, won't hear, and only a few kids have their ears pressed against the plates, straining to hear. Wagner knew nothing, but he gave a lot of people goose flesh, painting his sunsets with soprano volcanoes and oceanic contours, but not a word of truth about Miss Goodman and her petty bourgeois tragedy. Wagner represents every travesty, grandeur without merit, and opinions count for nothing. When you're pleading with the sky for Louisiana and all its promises, Wagner is the state over and over. The state is our humming. He loves his orders, his natural need to sit at the head of the table and listen to Wagner while the opera house burns. Interesting. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. Done with that book. I'm gonna go back inside. Go back to sleep. Give me a like. Give me a sub. I'm building up the channel. Haven't quite figured out what the channel is gonna be exactly, but I am building it up. I'm about 560 right now. That's pretty good. And 560, and the goal is to get 1,000. That's the goal right now, and I believe I am out of weed, which is fine. I might have a little bit left here. Nope. That's fine. All right, I'm out of here, folks. I'm gonna go to bed. It's been fun reading these little poetry sections for you from this crazy Bible book, Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. Very interesting. It's getting cold, a lot colder. Oof. I'm gonna go outside to check out the moon. Wow, I can't see shenanigans. Here we go. I gotta open the door here. Ooh, yeah, it's cold. Much colder now. Ooh, ooh. All right, the clouds are gone. It was cloudy early. It was way cloudy. Now it's a little bit better. Wind looks good, doesn't it? Same green glare as the sun. Interesting. Anyways, I'm gonna go to bed. Y'all have a good night. Sleep well.